Day 1. Michael woke up at 6 a.m., not because he had to, because he chose to. He made coffee, sat down at his desk, opened his laptop, and started. Not randomly, not impulsively, systematically. Step 1, done. Step 2, done. Step 3, done. He closed his laptop at noon, felt something unfamiliar. Not excitement, not anxiety, just calm, like he was finally moving in the right direction. Day 2, same time, same steps, same calm. Day 3. He checked his results. Nothing. Not a single notification, not a single response, not a single sign that anyone had noticed. Just silence. And that silence felt heavier than he expected, because silence in the beginning doesn't sound like patience. It sounds like failure, even when it isn't. Day 4. Michael sat at his desk, stared at the screen, and for the first time, asked the question he had been avoiding. What if this doesn't work? Not out loud, just quietly, in the back of his mind, where the most dangerous thoughts live. He had built a new system. He had made 3 shifts. He had committed. And yet, nothing. 4 days of work, 4 days of showing up, and 0 results, 0 movement, 0 proof. Just a blank screen, and a question he couldn't silence. Here's something nobody tells you. When you start something new, there is always a silent period. Always. No exceptions. It doesn't matter how good your system is. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how ready you feel. The silent period comes. Every time. And most people mistake this silence for failure. They think, if it was working, I would see something by now. If I was doing it right, there would be a sign. If this was the right path, it wouldn't feel this empty. These thoughts feel logical. They feel reasonable. But they are the most expensive thoughts you will ever have, because they cost you everything. The people who succeed are not the ones who never doubt. They're the ones who doubt and show up anyway. Michael had failed before, not because his ideas were bad, not because he wasn't smart, but because every time the silence came, he listened to it, he changed direction, he started over, and lost everything he had been building. This time, the silence came again. Same feeling, same weight, same pull toward quitting. But this time, Michael recognized it, and recognition changes everything. Let's look at what really happened. Day 1, Michael completed every step of his system, 0 external results, but one thing was built, a habit. Day 2, same completion, 0 results, 2 days of habit now. Day 3, 0 results, 3 days of habit. Day 4, 0 results, 1 small signal, not money, not a breakthrough, just one person who noticed, 1 interaction, 1 response, small, almost invisible, but real. Day 5, 2 signals. Day 6, 2 more. Day 7. Michael sat down and wrote everything out. 7 days, 7 completed sessions, $0 earned, but 5 signals, 5 people who noticed, 5 potential connections. And here's what he wrote in his notebook. Money doesn't come first. Attention comes first. Then trust. Then money. Most people expect the sequence to be work to money. But the real sequence is work to attention to trust to money. And the gap between work and attention is where almost everyone quits. 'Cause it looks like nothing is happening. But something is happening. It's just underground. Now here's what most people believe. If a system is good, results come quickly. If nothing is happening after a week, something is wrong. This sounds reasonable. It feels logical. But it's the belief that has killed more dreams, than failure ever has. Here's why. Think about a bamboo tree. You plant the seed, you water it every day. Week 1, nothing. Month 1, nothing. 6 months, nothing. A full year passes, still nothing visible above the ground. Someone watching says, "This isn't working." The seed must be dead. Try something else. But underground, the roots are spreading. Deeper, wider, stronger. Building a foundation that can hold what's coming. And then, in year 5, the bamboo grows 90 feet. In 6 weeks. Not because it suddenly started working, but because it never stopped. Systems work exactly the same way. The growth is underground first, invisible, quiet, patient, and most people quit right before the bamboo breaks through the surface. Michael had quit at that exact moment before, every single time. Not this time. Day 4 was the hardest. Not day 1, not day 7, day 4. Because by day 4, the excitement of starting was completely gone. But the results hadn't arrived yet. That space in between is where most people break. Michael was sitting at his desk, phone in hand, scrolling through other people's results, other channels, other systems, other success stories, and the comparison started. They're already making money. Their system is working. Why isn't mine? And then the familiar voice appeared, the one he had heard 100 times before. Maybe this isn't the right system. Maybe you should try something different. Maybe you're missing something. Michael put his phone down, picked up a pen, and wrote 3 words in his notebook. Trust the system. Not because he felt confident, not because he had proof, not because the results were coming, but because he had made a decision before the doubt arrived. And decisions made in clarity are always stronger than feelings felt in fear. He closed the notebook, put the phone face down, and went back to work. Not perfectly, not without doubt, but consistently. And consistency is the only currency that matters in week 1. Now someone is thinking, that sounds nice, Michael. But trusting the process is just another way of saying, hope for the best. Real results need real strategy, not just belief. And this is a fair point. Blind hope is not a system. Waiting without acting is not a plan. Michael wasn't just sitting and hoping. He was doing 3 specific things. Every day, without exception. Thing 1, he showed up at the same time, same hour, same desk, same routine. Because the body needs repetition. Before the mind accepts something as real, consistency creates identity, and identity creates momentum. Thing 2, he measured only one thing, not results, not money, not views, not responses. Just one question every evening. Did I do the work today? Yes or no. Nothing else. Because in week 1, the only metric that matters is showing up. Thing 3, he protected the system from himself. No checking competitors. No changing strategies mid-week. No adding new steps. Just the system. Exactly as designed. Nothing more. Nothing less. That's not blind hope. That's disciplined execution. And disciplined execution, in the silent period, is what separates builders from dreamers. By the end of day 7, Michael understood something important. Something he couldn't have learned by reading about it or watching someone else do it. He had to live it. The first week of a system is not about results. It's not about money. It's not about progress. It's about one thing only: identity. Who you become when nothing is working, when the screen is empty, when the silence is loud, when every logical thought says stop. Anyone can show up. When results are visible. Anyone can stay consistent. When progress is obvious. But the person who shows up on day 4 with 0 results and 0 proof and still chooses to continue, that person is different. That person has crossed a line that most people never cross. Not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because they made a decision and kept it. Michael crossed that line, quietly, without fanfare, without anyone watching. And on the other side, something had changed. Not his results, not his system. Him. Last objection. Michael, 1 week is nothing. You need months to see real results. Don't get excited over a few signals. And this is completely true. 1 week proves nothing about the system, but it proves everything about the person. Here's what Michael knew about himself. He had started things before. Many things. And he had never made it past week 2. Not once. Not in years of trying. Week 1 always felt possible. Week 2 was where reality arrived, where the excitement disappeared, where the results still hadn't come, where the old patterns pulled the hardest. So for Michael, finishing week 1 wasn't just a small win. It was evidence. Evidence that something had shifted, not in the system, in him. And that shift was worth more than any result he could have seen in 7 days. Sunday evening, 7 p.m., end of week 1. Michael sat at his desk, not celebrating, not scrolling, not comparing, just sitting, quiet. He looked at his notebook. 7 days marked off, 5 signals recorded, $0 earned, and 3 words written on day 4. Trust the system. He read them slowly, and for the first time, they didn't feel like desperation. They felt like truth. He closed the notebook, stood up, made dinner, watched something simple, and went to sleep earlier than usual, without the anxiety that had followed him to bed for as long as he could remember. Because for the first time, he wasn't waiting for something to work. He was building something that would. And there is a very specific kind of peace that comes from that. Not the peace of having arrived. The peace of knowing you're on the right road. Here's the truth about week 1. It will feel like nothing is happening, because on the surface, nothing is. But underneath, everything is. Roots are forming. Habits are solidifying. Identity is shifting. And the most important thing you can do is stay. Not perfectly. Not without doubt. Just stay. Because the people who build real things are not the ones who never struggled in week 1. They're the ones who struggled and showed up anyway. Results come in week 4, in month 3, in year 2. But they only come if you survive week 1. Michael survived his, and everything that follows starts there. The system is simple. Show up, stay consistent, trust the process. The decision is yours. Week 1 was finished, 5 signals, $0. But something invisible had been built, something Michael couldn't yet measure, but could finally feel. Week 2 began, Monday morning, same time, same desk, same system. Day 1 of week 2, done. Day 2, done. And then, day 3 of week 2. Something happened. Michael opened his laptop, checked his system, and stopped, completely still. He read the screen once, then again, then a third time. His hands didn't move. His breathing slowed. And then, very quietly, he smiled. Not because everything had changed, but because something had. What did Michael see? In the next episode, you'll find out exactly what happened and why it was the moment that made everything real.